Hey, Rudy, what's going on? Trying to get positioned. I couldn't find 𝗗𝗗𝗶𝗴. Hold up.
I'm under 𝗗𝗶𝗴 on here. I haven't shifted over yet.
Oh, because I was like, where is, and then I was having some technical difficulties, child. And then I got to get my notebook. I don't have my charger.
It's always something. It's always something, pumpkin. You don't mean no harm. You just not gonna be on time. It's okay.
I'm trying.
Are you? Are you real?
Yeah, and I don't like how this lighting is. It's just all wrong. Okay, I guess.
Everybody is coming on in. Come on in. Tell your friends to come on in. This is gonna be a real interesting topic.
Yes, I am excited about this one because we are going to talk about dating and deal breakers. And you know I have a lot to say with the dating deal breakers because it's a lot that's going on out there. And I think these men, hello, Mrs. 𝗗𝗗𝗶𝗴, Miss 𝗗𝗗𝗶, I think there's a lot of folks that need to know what we go through, especially as successful Black women on the dating scene. It's a whole different ball game when we're talking about successful women with money, women that are great mothers, women that are great in their career. And when we start dating, it's a different pool of guys that we're talking about here and that we're trying to acquire. And it's a different pool or caliber of people, men or women, that we are looking for. So this is going to be interesting. 𝗗𝗗𝗶𝗴, I miss you, even though I saw you last week.
I know. My dirty bites was delicious. Those of you who are joining in, please chime in. Dating deal breakers. First, let me ask this. Should there be deal breakers? Should one have deal breakers?
Oh, yes.
I think so, too.
Oh,
I think
definitely.
I definitely think that it is smart to have some deal breakers that you know are like, And I have different sets of deal breakers. So I have the first time I meet you set of deal breakers. Like you're not getting a second date, you're not getting a call back, you're getting nothing. Hey, Marquis, thanks for joining us. That's one of my good friends since childhood, since first grade. So I have those. So I have a set of deal breakers that are like, okay, you're not getting a call back. There won't be a second date. And then I have deal breakers, that are once I get to know you, once we're kind of into it, you know what I mean? That are then deal breakers in terms of okay, we're not going to go past 30 days or, whatever. So they're different kind of deal breakers for me. Do you have different sets or it's just all the same thing?
Well, within the first few moments of conversation, I think as women, especially because, I'm a Southern woman, I'm very intuitive. So it's a lot of, well, first of all, let's start here, Freeman Jones. When you enter the dating scene, you need to have and know what your standards versus your preferences are. All right.
Absolutely.
Because when you go into the game of dating, you need to be whole, ladies. You need to not have any Black history attached to you. You need to not have all that extra baggage attached to you. Once you have cleared the air about all those different things that are challenging you, right, as a person, and you're presenting your best self, of course you're going to have deal breakers on the list. I'm presenting my best self. This is the Banker Catherine right here, right? So anybody that applies for the loan needs to have certain requirements. And the requirements, okay, are not that tedious, but they're there, right? And the prerequisites or the requirements, whatever you want to call them, the things that he needs in order to step up to the plate to be considered for the application. Some things may go on during the get to know you process that will be deal breakers. And a lot of times the deal breakers can come early on, or the deal breakers can be suppressed until they show up.
Later.
Right?
Because we all show that first date, like, I don't wake up like this.
Right.
Like, don't let that Beyonce, like, she's not even talking about obviously waking up with makeup and stuff like that. She's talking about, look, just who I am as a person. So I definitely think that when you're going in, particularly dating, there are some things that you should have for yourself. So let's start off with you're just meeting him or her for the first time. What are immediate deal breakers? So for me, it is breath. It is grooming. Like, you know, how Nietzsche looked, there's that commercial and he's like, you look great. And she's like, you look comfortable. See, that would be a deal breaker for me, right? I'm not saying you got to come out in a tuxedo, you know, if we're just going out for drinks, but I just immediately, you're grooming, you know, is your hair cut? Are you shaped up? Are you shaved?
You have a
And I look at your breath and I look at shoes. I cannot take a man who has run over shoes. And particularly if everything from head to toe is good. And then I get to your shoes. You ever see a man in a nice suit or some nice slacks or something like that? And you get to his shoes and they are scuffed up, run over. Immediate for me, I'm like, yeah,
no,
that's an immediate. That in your breath. In your breath. If
yeah.
your breath is not.
Yeah, Freeman Jones, my mama said that if your shoes dirty, your drawers dirty. So
I love you Southern people and how you make those associations. Okay, that may be.
Yeah, so if his shoes dirty,
Like you don't take care of things, right? Like you don't, it just speaks to me about, and I don't know what it is about shoes, and I do love a man with a nice pair of shoes. It could be sneakers, it could be nice dress,
and they
particularly
don't have to
dress
be
shoes.
expensive. You could be well put together and not have all the labels. I don't care about labels. I don't care about that. You just need to be well put together, and you need to be ironed, and you need to be smelling like something other than your body odor. And here's another thing that I look out for, because fragrance is big for me too. Another time,
nothing like a good smelling man.
huh?
It says nothing like a good smelling man.
Oh yeah, especially you ever been on the elevator and either you get off or you get on and you just smell real good. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So yes, a man definitely needs to have a fragrance going. Hi, cousin. This is my cousin Linda, just popped on. And another thing that a man needs to have is a good watch. And I don't know if you watch Kevin Samuels, but he was like, all these young cats, you know, they got the Apple and they don't need to actually have a watch in order to tell the time because you got your phone, but it doesn't mean nothing. You need a good timepiece. I have a timepiece that I bought years ago that I have been having for years. I like gold. So, yes.
So I have a girlfriend who has a thing about teeth, and I'm sure you do too. I know you do too. I have two girls, you and my other girlfriend. Teeth. The teeth have to be on point. Have to be on point. Marquis said smoking. Immediate deal breaker. He whips out a cigarette. That is automatically deal breaker. Now, cigarettes I'm not down with, but if you smoke cigars, because I enjoy cigars too. So I'm okay with cigars. But yeah, cigarettes, immediate deal breaker.
Yeah, teeth. Now, here's my thing about teeth, because I try not to be a stickler for certain things because I know everybody have their own priorities, and maybe you got your kids' teeth fixed first, and then you know, because that's what I did, and you know, it's a process for teeth. But yeah. But here's the thing about teeth. I'm looking for good hygiene because your teeth. Because you get in the mirror and you brush your teeth every single day, right? So if you got stuff rotten up in there, if your your morning breath smells atrocious to the fact where you can't stand it, you know it's something going on up in there. So I'm gonna need you to invest in yourself and go and get your teeth fixed. If you have missing teeth on the smile line, right? Go get that fixed, right? And then get yourself on the market. Don't be trying to talk to no woman and
right. We're not saying way back here if you got a missing molar. We're talking like You smile. If I could see all it, yeah. Yeah, especially as we're getting older. So deal breakers look a little different now that I'm 50 than they did when I was 20,
Right, because
right?
if he's
Um,
40, because you got to be 40 to apply for the loan, right?
that's right.
So,
That's
so at 40, you didn't invest in your teeth yet? Like, I got questions. And if I like him enough, then we're going to have to get the teeth fixed within the first 6 months. You got to
uh-huh.
sign on to get Smile Direct Club or Invisalign or something, right?
Yeah.
But I don't want to have to do that because I feel like I'm Build-A-Bearing again, right? So,
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah, for me, it's the hygiene of the teeth. Now, I am not as obsessed with teeth as you and my other girlfriend. However, I'm looking for hygiene of your teeth. I mean, do you floss? Do you brush? That kind of thing. But if it's too many jagged edges and to your point, too many, that
Right.
kind of speaks to me to, yeah, yeah.
Because I'm not kissing you.
And I don't want to see any gold in your, I don't want to see any gold. I don't want to see any diamonds. I don't want to see I don't care that it's platinum. It shouldn't be on your teeth, right? Unless I am dating a sugar daddy who back in the day when they used gold and silver for fillings, if that's not you, I don't care. You can have the #1 rap album out in the world. I am not, that is a deal breaker for me. I don't want to see all that foolishness on your teeth. Rudy said smoking is a deal breaker for him when it
Yeah.
comes to women.
I can't
Yeah,
do
cigarettes is just so like,
And I know some people going to disagree with me on this too. I don't want a pothead either.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. If that's what you're dabbling on occasion, fine. But if you just a straight head, a straight weed head, absolutely not.
yeah,
Absolutely not.
I don't particularly like to be with someone. I'm not against weed, but my thing is,
You can't get through your day without it. Like you
yeah,
said,
you
you're just a
can't get through
pothead.
your day, and it's a consistent thing. That's a
And
deal.
you reek of it. Like you reek of it all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
deal breaker because you clearly
Deal
you
breaker.
job. Because my deal breaker is I have a lot of other ones that we're gonna go through. But right now, let's break it up into categories, FJ. So we're talking about the physical deal breakers right now.
We're talking about the immediate physical. I'm just meeting you for the first time. This is the
Yeah,
first date.
things that's
Appearance
attached to
is
your
all of it.
body.
And
Of course,
appearance of your car. So let's say you picking me up for our first date.
we're not finished with the physicals yet.
Oh, the physical. Oh yeah.
So we're
So
still on physicals.
I don't like a whole bunch of don't over Beijing, gentlemen. Like, don't over Beijing it. Like, I don't mind a little bit of it because women, we do some enhancements too, right? But when your Beijing is so obvious, right? When it's leaking, it's dripping from your face because now you're sweating, or it's so obvious. I don't want to date someone who looks like they just went to the barber and got spray painted any more than, some men may not want overmade. For me, that's like an overmade up woman, right? I don't over Beijing it. Don't try to fill in what's not here. I don't like that either. So like if you just bald right here, but you want to keep all this right here, I can't do it. Just
Let it
go
go.
bald. I like a bald head. I like a bald head. Just you all around here and you get that Beijing too. Like, dude, like don't do that. Please don't do that.
You
Don't
know
do
what
that.
I
Do
don't
that.
like, and a lot of women might not agree with me. I don't like beards.
Oh, really? That's a deal breaker for you.
Germaphobe. So I'm concerned about the upkeep of that beard because I've read that the beards are like public toilets with the amount of
Yeah,
bacteria.
you got to keep it clean and keep it groomed.
Yeah, but the
So,
bacteria that sits in the hair, just like on our vagina, we don't keep hair on our vagina, right? And because it keeps odors, it keeps bacteria and all those different things. Yeah. So I'm really not into beards because if I'm a germaphobe, so
got it.
that's just not my
So
thing.
no beard.
So
A
yeah,
dude with a beard is not getting swipe right with you. A
yeah.
dude with a beard is not going to get the swipe right. No. Okay.
No,
Okay.
I mean, this is not my thing, but I prefer clean shaven. Oh, and you know what's a deal breaker for me? And you might be like, what? I don't do dreads. I don't like men with a lot of hair.
Oh yeah, I don't mind that.
I need
As long as they're so
yeah.
again, it kind of goes back to the grooming. So I don't mind twists or dreads. I mind it when clearly you only go once every 6 months. I don't like, again, it's the ungroomed for me. So whether it's both the hot pocket mix. I
Yeah,
hate Rudy. So
yeah, I totally
I hate the hot pocket needs to be groomed. I hate calling it a hot pocket. And for me, so I don't mind I don't mind the twist or dreads or whatever. I mind when it's an afro up underneath your dreads. They're not well kept. I like a groomed man, because you know what else is a deal breaker for me? Nails. Dirty nails.
yes.
Dirty
Like,
nails.
and I
Dirty.
don't like a man all in the spa. To me, I like a manly man. I mean, I'm not saying that you're not a manly man, because I don't want that metrosexual. I'm going to get my nails done. All this more than I'm getting my nails done. That's a deal breaker for me. If you in the spa more than I am, my eyebrow getting lifted up, because I need you to do something. Go build a transmission or something. I would need you to stay out of the nail salon. So I don't know. I agree, Francis, but let's look at the comments. Yeah, I don't want to deal with a man that got to maintain his hair. He got to go get his dreads done. He got to go get his nails done. You a woman. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not doing that. So that's a deal breaker for me.
I don't mind. I like a man who knows, who has a standard. Like, if you have a standard appointment with your barber, or a standard appointment with the person who does the twist or whatever, I'm good with that.
Hey,
Getting your nails and feet done, getting your nails and feet done as a dude, I'm with you. I'm like, we're not going together every 2 weeks. Like that, we're not doing. But every now and then you want to, make sure your feet are good and make sure your hands are good. I'm good. But nails, like mechanics, could probably be the most wonderful man in the world, but I never seen a mechanic who's had clean nails. Ergo, I will probably never date a mechanic, because I can't, the nail thing. Thing.
Mechanics, construction workers, like trash.
Yeah, I can't, the nails.
Great jobs, but you're not for me, because like I said, I'm a germaphobe, and all that cleaning and your uniform is dirty. I prefer a clean cut suit and tie, polished type of man. I don't want no dreads. I don't want no cornrows. That was like a long time ago. Let it go, right?
And after 50, that's the deal breaker. So when I was in my, in the 90s, the cornrows was I liked it. My husband's, matter of fact, when I met him, was doing the cornrows. This is the early 2000s, whatever. So I find that, but at 50, you still doing cornrows? Nope. No. Yeah. So that would be a deal breaker just because of my age. Like, I'm not, what is happening right now? And if you show up and you have on a jersey like this is circa 1993, I'm done. Yeah, I'm gonna
need a man to also know how to manicure his own fingers, nails with a kit. And you don't need to be in the shop for that.
I don't mind if you go every night. I don't mind.
Let's have a date night, and I could do your nails. You know what I mean?
I'm not doing nails. So see how that works. Everybody has their preference. Everybody has their. So okay. So let's move into some deal breakers that have to do with how you keep your surroundings. So like for me, you picking me up for the date.
Your car.
And I get to your car, and you have a nasty, just trash everywhere, a bad smelling car. Deal breaker.
No, fellas, and I know y'all have concerns about us, because women, we have kids and we putting our makeup on, we eating, we talking on the phone. But let me tell you something. I'm a different breed of a woman when it comes to my vehicle, right? Listen, I keep my vehicle clean, all right? And on the inside, and I have a daughter that's 9, and she bet not, right? Mess up my car, and you train your kids. And I don't have all that nasty stuff. You know what? I'm so funny is that, like, when you park in a parking lot somewhere, and I peer in other people's cars next to me, and I think, ew. How could they drive that? Like, that's disgusting. So
like for me, it just, you got shoes and papers and and this is my favorite, when the visor comes down, your mail from the last 3 months fall down. Man, like, and I'm not saying I have like a super freaky neat inside of my car, but I keep my car pretty straight, try to wipe it down, you know, whatever. I don't, all of that. Oh, no, 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 no.
Yeah,
Your
and that's
car.
why it's important. Yeah, I need a guy that knows, and we talk about that, FJ, on the first date. You're married, so you know what I mean? You're not testing out the market, but on the first date, I'm asking that question. Do you keep your car clean? And some of them are honest, and some of them probably lying, right? But some dudes have been like, you know, my son kind of like, you know, creates clutter in my car sometimes, but for the most part, it's clean. And some dudes have came with the angle where, well, I know next time when I come pick you up,
Yeah.
make sure my car is detailed, you know, because you're paying attention to what I said, because I said I don't keep a dirty car. And I even have one of my girlfriends, she always laughed at me about my car because I have my vacuum sitting like right in the trunk, and sometimes it's riding with me in the back seat, and I will have to, you know, vacuum my stuff, and she went and got hers. So I mean, you know, it's just taking care of the things that you have. You don't have to have a $100,000 car to say, okay, I need to make sure I keep my car clean.
Because I've been in some cars that are
have,
expensive cars, and people keep them so nasty. I'm like,
nasty.
ew. And I can even see that being a deal breaker for like a guy. Like a woman's car is just kind of
I
like
agree,
not
fellas too. She
yeah,
needs to.
fellas, would that be a deal breaker for you if she has a nasty car? Like, comment, let us know. Would that be a deal breaker for you? Because the other thing is your house. So let's say now I'm visiting you, right? Dude, if you have a junky, nasty dishes in the sink, that first of all, that tells me you know I was coming over and you didn't take the time just to clean. That means this is just who you are. This is just who you are. But let's say we get a little further down the road and you get a little bit more comfortable and I just see how nasty and junky you are. That's a deal breaker.
Yeah,
It's
I need a guy that's neat, preferable, right? And a guy that keeps his hygiene together, and a guy that keeps his car together. And I know those are not non-negotiables, but that's something that I would like to have, right?
What's the difference between junky and nasty for me? So junky is you don't necessarily pick up, you know, your shirt's right here, you left your bag right here. That's junky. Nasty is you got dishes in the sink for days at a time. You know, you haven't cleaned out the refrigerator in God knows how. Like there's a difference for me. I can work with
Blowing your
junky. I
nose
can't
like
work with
this,
nasty.
blowing your nose like this on the ground instead of going to the back. Now that happened to me years ago when I was younger. Yeah, I was in New Orleans at the time. I was really young. I was on a date or whatever. We was out. I was out with a guy that I liked or whatever. Instead of him blowing his nose or going to the bathroom or getting a tissue, he blew his nose on the ground. And I was like, where are your manners? And I never talked to him.
Yeah,
But
that's a deal breaker. I don't care how old I am.
yeah,
That's a deal breaker. I don't care how old
and
I
I've
am. Yeah.
seen grown men do that in the parking lot at Walmart. That's why I don't go to Walmart no more.
Wait, what?
I've seen grown men do that, like blow their nose like that. That's why those type of people that's at Walmart, I don't want to be around. I'm going to Target. It's true.
Really? Seriously?
I don't even go to Walmart. I don't like Walmart. I'm a Target type of girl. So
you just don't like Walmart in general. Let's not put that on because he didn't blow his nose. Yeah. So, okay. Deal breakers, talking about behavior. You don't open and close doors. Like I still, and I know this is a big debate with men because we're all of this, women want to be treated equal, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I'm talking about if I'm doing the same job you're doing, I want to get paid equal, but I still want my door open. I still want you to open the door, make sure I'm in. I want you to walk me to my door at the end of our date. All of that. I like all that gentlemanly pulling out my chair, all of that stuff. And if he doesn't do any of that, yeah, it's a deal breaker for me. It's like, you know, I don't know if you're ready, but
yeah, I would stand in front of the door and wait for the man to open the door for me because chivalry is not dead. And I saw something on Instagram the other day with this grown man. Thank you. this grown man was talking about how chivalry is dead, and he's not getting out the car to go open up your door. He was like, you need to open up. You got arms. He said, that's the problem. He said, we put too much onus on allowing women to have themselves on a pedestal. And I was like, wow. And I just saw it the other day, and I was like, absolutely not. So I need a man that has manners, and preferably, and this is another thing, you're about to laugh at me. A deal breaker for me is, since we're talking about attitudes and behaviors, is a man with a lot of childhood trauma. And here's why I say that.
He hasn't unpacked yet, that he hasn't dealt with.
That he has not dealt with, and because he's going to show up in his adult self, and I'm not dealing with that neither. I'm not certified as a psychologist. I'm not Dr. 𝗗𝗶𝗴 𝗗𝗲𝗶𝗶. So I can't do it. So no, you got to have manners, and you got to be able to address my love languages, and I will do the same. So you need to make sure that you're mannerable, because
Absolutely.
and you got to look at the fact that he's going to be a role model for them too. So yes, you got to have manners.
Yeah, I'm definitely with that. And if that's that dude's thing, he's like, chivalry is that there's a top for every pot, I believe. This is my deal breaker. If you're not opening, closing doors, and you're not making sure I'm in safe, and all those things that I think, some may call it traditional, old-fashioned, you can call it whatever you like. If you don't do it, that's a deal breaker for me. Deal breaker for me, so we're on the date and we're having conversation, or we're dating, and you don't know anything about the world around you. Like, I'm not saying you got to watch CNN 24/7, but it's a deal breaker for me if I can't have some kind of intellectual conversation with you about current events, your view on politics. Oh, tell me you don't vote. Oh, that's an instant, you're not getting another date.
Well, I need to know the reason behind you not voting, but I agree. Political views are very important. And if you
not that the political views have to be mine, just that you have them. Now, there may be some stances that you have. I don't know if there is a political view that I've come across that is a deal breaker for me, but a deal breaker for me is I cannot have an intellectual conversation with you. First of all, a man who doesn't talk, period, because I'm a talker, right? So if you just don't know how to have a conversation in general about whatever, then yeah, that's a deal. Like, my girlfriend Crystal went on a date not too long ago, and she was like, he was nice, but he had no conversation. Yeah. Like, it was dead air space. So I need a man that knows how to have a conversation, but can have a conversation about a bunch of things, even if it's not something that's your strength. I don't mean you have to know everything. Right. I'm talking about you're at least willing to be open to have a conversation about it. If you don't know how to have a conversation, or you just quiet, yeah, deal breaker for me.
Yeah, and a deal breaker for me would be a lot when since we're talking about politics and behaviors. If you don't love Black people, and you don't understand your history and the struggle, and you don't understand the plight and the differences between Africans living in America and today's society, that's a deal breaker for me. So basically, right. It's a deal breaker. It's a deal breaker for me outside of Black men. I'm not into dating outside of my race, so that's
I love a brother.
I'd rather date a brother, but a lot of times, Rudy said talking. What he said, trying to have a conversation with a fine fool.
That is right. I don't know if it is nothing worse than meeting someone you find really attractive, they groomed, whatever, and then they open their mouth and you're like, oh no. Oh, deal breaker. When it comes to attitude.
Wait. Oh, hi Q. How you doing? Oh, thank you so much. He was saying he loved what we're doing. That's my my good old brother from back when we were talking about the 99s and the 2000s. So
nice. Hi, Q. Hey, Q. Tell your friends to join us and comment. So, if we're sitting here, what was I gonna say? So we're on a date, right? And um, we're talking, and you lead with your money, and you lead with your sexual prowess. Like that's what you lead with. Deal breaker. I'm done. All you want to do is talk about your money, how much money you have and invested in
oh
this
yeah.
and all the things you have. Deal breaker for me. And you want to lead with, I got a big this, I can knock you back out, blah, 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 blah.
So let me tell you.
Deal breaker. Deal breaker.
So let me tell you. That's very true. So I was on a dating scene. Let's backtrack last year, when I first popped up on a dating scene, and I met this guy, well groomed, right? Had it all together as far as appearance wise, nice looking. He had a beard, but it was very maintained. We were at the table. He was fly too, swagged out, clothes like. I saw the Gucci belt. He looked really nice, right? I could tell he was into his appearance. All right. Starts talking about how, how he could do all these different things, in the bedroom. You know what I mean? And he was talking about, he was married twice before, and, he have all these, football. So he's athletic, and he got these muscles underneath this sweater and stuff. So I'm like, okay. So in conversation with somebody else, I found this young lady that knew him, right? Come to find out, she told me the total opposite of all the stuff he was saying. So that goes to say, fellas, out the gate, I understand that if you are the ladies' man, try to keep it suppressed, because if you look like, or if I smell a player, right? Deal breaker, you're done. Because I don't want to have them problems. So, Q, request to get in, so I could add you in. So just send a request, or let me, oh, here we go. I'm gonna just do it on my side. So I have a guy that he want to chime in. So we're talking about deal breakers. Hey, Q, how you doing?
Hey, I'm feeling good. It's so funny. I love these type of subjects. How you doing, Miss Lady?
Hi,
Um,
nice to meet you.
I'm gonna explain something. I just pulled up from a 7-day vacation to my house from Florida, but a coincidence just popped up. How y'all doing? Yeah, welcome home. Thank you. I'm gonna hit y'all up as my neighbors talking to me. I'm sorry, but let me tell y'all something, Kathy. I am so proud of you what you're doing,
Oh,
because um as things grow with me, and I'm not just saying this, I love this. I'm going to help you back this up. I want this to get worldwide because it's needed. And you know I'll talk to my business partner, and I'll sponsor something, help sponsor something. Yeah, and then you found I've been on you ever, but let me talk to y'all where a lot of women go wrong at. I don't hear nobody talk about a man of God. I don't hear nobody talk about a man of God. That's why y'all keep bumping into these.
Uh-oh.
Okay, maybe a deal breaker should be we need to make sure we have good internet connection so we don't miss anything.
Yeah. Well, he's outside. I'm gonna
Yeah. Because it sounds like you great drop some knowledge and then we lose you, right? So
yeah.
we're gonna need you to have good connection. because that could be a deal breaker, right?
Yeah.
We in it, and then all of a sudden you start digitizing. Oh, and then we lose you. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? So I like where he was going. I think I know where he was going. If that's so, to me, deal breakers and requirements are two different things, right? So it could be a deal breaker for you. So if you're an atheist, that would be a deal breaker for me, because
Yes,
I am very big
we
in
didn't get
having
that far yet.
a spiritual so as we're talking, right? As we're talking, so you may not be Christian like me. Your faith may be Muslim. Your faith may be
Right.
whatever. For me, I just need to know that you believe in
Kind of
something.
clown, brother. Kind of clown, brother. I do live in that. I heard everything you were saying. I'm just getting back. Hold on one second. Let me drop my laptop. It's always work with me. I'm gonna sit at the table so I can say this. And your name, ma'am?
Oh, Anissa.
Anissa, because I don't want to call you ma'am. I better say Anissa. All right. So, all right, reception. So what it is, a lot of women see television don't do nothing but television. It have you psyched up, scared, have men and women all in all type of places looking for a relationship in the wrong area. I can tell you from experience, because I've been married 3 times, 10 years, 5 years, and going on 7 years married. So I have a lot of experience under my belt for as marriage, and I seen and paid attention why I made a mistake. It wasn't about being a player. It was about learning. So women used to look at men for 6 feet tall, 6-pack, and 6 figures. That's the devil, baby. 666. Nobody don't pay attention to that. See, look at me. Watch this. But turn it around. I'm gonna show you. Look at this. My wife fine as hell. Let me explain something to you. People be looking in the wrong directions. Look for a man with potential. Look for a man that have a relationship with God.
Okay. And
So I did potential in my 20s and early 30s. I'm 50. And I'm not saying that we all don't have potential to get better. So that's where I am with potential. When I was in my 20s, I'm down with potential. We're going to grow. Whatever. At 50, potential looks very different. I'm not still waiting for you to turn certain corners at 50. Okay? Now, I'm looking for the potential for us to grow together, for you to just always get better and have an open mind. But that, I'm gonna stick with him because he has potential. I did that in my early 20s, my 20s and early 30s. Life, it's a different lens now. So if I'm dating you in 50, there's certain potentials I have expected you to have already reached at 50. So I'm not rejecting what you're saying. What I'm saying is it's a different, get a man with potential. Like, we're going to have to break, that's a different lens at 50. It's a very different lens.
Let me ask you, you got to say something, Kat? Go ahead.
And no, and I don't think a lot of women are missing the God component, right? I think a lot of women are not putting.
It's not me.
I'm sorry. I'm checking text messages. That was not my connection. I accidentally went to a text message.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
But
I'm going to give her two. I'm going to give her 2 cute.
But I think a lot of women may not have that on the top of their priority list when it comes to finding a husband. Because first of all, what are you looking for? When you're dating, are you looking for just somebody to be with, to snuggle with and Netflix and chill? Or are you looking for a husband? I'm looking for a husband, right?
No, that's the, hold. Let me say this, Kat, not to cut you off. Don't look for the husband. If you get that relationship with God, he will send you. Let me tell you, my wife, when I met my wife in 2013, I was working at Haverty's. I had a 1990, this was in 2013, I had a 1995 Mercury Sable that had a big crack across the glass. And And it's not no bragging. I'm showing you how growth can happen if you go through God with it.
Right.
Broken glass. I was working at Haverty's delivering furniture. That same day, my wife was praying, and she pulled to the side. She said, God, she said, I'm damaged like that. Well, I can't get a man. Like, it's that crazy. It's not that people be damaged. A lot of the times, I think they had bad experiences and they look in the wrong places. So when I met my wife, I'm not gonna go into detail. We supposed to go to Houston's. We were supposed to go to Houston just to go eat. We weren't supposed to even. I wasn't even trying to date nobody. I just got out of divorce. I said I'm in Atlanta. To be boom,
Right.
right? But God said, no, boy, I'm not letting you do that. God said, I got bigger things for you. You're not about to be playing with nobody. So guess what? Everything wound up. We started kicking it, dating and stuff. My wife had 3 kids. I didn't have no kids at the time. I was 40 years old. My wife had 3 kids at the time, 2 boys and a girl, right? I was like, I ain't dating with nobody, no children and all of that. So I went against the grain. She went against the grain. My wife was making more than me. She was working at Emory Hospital and she was doing hair on the side. Now, for fast forward everything, we got baptized together. We went celibate for 9 months before we got married. I mean, we touched the waters, of course. But I'm saying I'm just telling you how things can work with patience.
Wait, yeah, and I understand that.
We're not disagreeing with that. We
No,
talk
we're
about
not
deal breakers. We're
disagreeing,
not talking about what
and
makes a
both,
relationship work. We're
yeah,
talking about deal breakers. So for some, I have some girlfriends that's like, if he don't go to church every Sunday, that's a deal
yeah,
breaker. Well, that's a deal
that's
breaker
not
for
a,
you. That's not a deal breaker.
And sometimes you be tired.
That's not a deal breaker for me. The fact that if I meet a man, so when I met my husband, he wasn't real religious and he didn't really go to church or whatever. That was my thing.
Mm.
And then in dating me, he grew that way and he got baptized. That was his decision. I think, you know, I think again we're talking about, to stay on topic, we're talking about deal breakers. So if that's your deal breaker, I ain't mad at that. For me, a deal breaker would be someone that says, I'm an atheist. I believe in absolutely nothing higher than me. And so that's a deal breaker for me because I certainly believe if you're Buddhist, you can, whatever it is for you, I'm cool with that. I'm not cool with, oh, we just came from a Big Bang Theory and that's it. Like for me, I need somebody who is spiritual. That's what it is for
Right,
me. If you're not spiritual at all,
right,
has
right.
nothing to do with your attendance at church, then that is a deal breaker for me. But
right,
I would push back to say, to Catherine's point, that women where spirituality is a big thing don't consider that. I don't believe that to be true.
okay,
I don't believe
all
that to
right,
be true.
And
But deal breaker.
a man that is overly religious, right? I have a connection with God. I have a relationship with God. I believe in God. If you are overly consumed,
it could be overwhelming.
yes, then that's a deal breaker for me because, for one, I don't go to church every Sunday, but I do have a relationship with God. My kids
Hmm.
have a relationship with God. I pray every day. But if he does not have what I have, or he has like way too much, that might be a deal breaker. If
Or
he,
you're a religious snob.
if
Those are
he
people I call religious snobs. Yeah.
yeah, if
Hmm.
you're like, you know what I mean? If you're like this religious, you know what I mean? And sometimes a guy that is overly exerting this religious crutch, right? That's because he's trying to cover up or deal with some other demon that he may have that he's struggling with. And I'm not a part
Hmm.
of that party either.
Or
So
that's their claim to fame. Right.
right,
That's their
right.
claim to fame.
So I don't believe that successful Black women, right, like myself and Freeman Jones and other women that may be single and on the market, we are not looking for a husband. What I'm saying is that I am anticipating my husband just like I anticipate my direct deposit every 2 weeks.
Right.
And I need that man, right, to be just as whole as I am and even more because he's the leader. So some things that he come to the table with that are not together, like we were just talking about certain things like shoes and teeth and, breath and having too many.
That makes a difference though.
Yeah.
It does.
Appearance, because I mean, I was joking with y'all really when I showed you the stomach, but I have to. How you doing, bro? I'm sorry.
I'm doing all right, brother.
Hi,
Uh,
Rick. Glad you popped in.
yeah. I was just saying that, like, I'm in the gym now, working on that. So appearance do make a big deal, but she didn't leave me because I had the tummy.
No,
You see
some
what I'm
women
saying?
not
That's
looking at
a
that.
deal breaker. For somebody, that could be a deal breaker. There's for some women. So here's the message here, because you don't took us a little bit off course, so let's bring it
I'm
back just a
sorry.
little bit. We're talking about dating deal breakers, right? So for someone, that tummy may have been a thing, just like my tummy may be a thing for him. Like if a tummy is your deal breaker, that's your deal breaker. Now here's the thing with deal breakers, and we all have them.
Yeah.
Whatever your deal breakers are, you do know that takes people out of the pool, right? And
Right.
so if stomachs are your thing, or if whatever, like for me, bad breath, that takes a lot, that narrows down the pool a little bit. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. Now, 6 figures. You don't have to be making, like, if you make less than 6, that's not a deal breaker for me. That may be a deal breaker for Kat. If she's cool with that pool, narrowing that pool, that's fine. So we just talking about deal breakers, and you don't took us a little
I'm
deeper than
sorry.
we
I
anticipated.
apologize. I'm on
Come
point.
My
on
What's
thing
back.
is
going on?
this.
Come on
No,
back.
but
Rudy,
Q,
what you
what's
talking
the deal
about? Rudy, what
breaker?
you talking about?
But my thing is, okay, so you're a little fluffy. So what?
Yeah.
I mean, stuff happens. You might have a little bit fluffy. Okay, fine. That's not, you're F and F. You're fluffy and fine. Let's keep it at that. You're moving on. You keep on going. Deal breakers for me is pretty much, if you're not down to earth and real, then I got a problem with it. If you can't laugh at yourself and have fun, then it's a deal breaker for me.
Yeah.
You gotta be honest with yourself and be open to constructive criticism and be genuine.
You
I
know
think
what?
your genuine self. What you got to be, even in your imperfections, your perfect imperfections.
Yeah.
But fellas, this is what I heard. So the other day I was talking to my good girlfriend, and she was telling me about this particular.
Did you say good girlfriend or your big girlfriend?
My good girlfriend.
I thought you said big. I was about to say. Okay, I'm sorry.
And she was like, we were talking about a particular woman that we know in common, and she was like, "Girl, because I was talking about how I didn't like the fact that the girl was a slacker, but in a certain area, right? When we were talking about
Okay.
right? We were talking about work. And then, but I said she's a beautiful woman. She's a divorcee. She has 2 kids, great mother. She owns her own house. She drive a Benz. She have it all together. And she's on the market looking for a man, nice body, right? And my girlfriend said, but men don't care about your education, and they don't care about like your career accomplishments. And I was like, what do you mean? She was like, all the guys I know, they just looking, like if they're looking for a wife, they don't care about if she have degrees, and they don't care. Like those are not deal breakers. Like y'all don't really care about that. Is that true?
That's a lie.
It depends. It depends. Because I don't know. It depends on where the guy come from. Maybe me and you may have, want somebody with education, but you have some dudes that just deal with a girl that's
That's not
on
a
food
thing.
stamps or something. It
I
just
think
depends.
for women, like it's not a requirement for me that you have a degree, like it is for Catherine. Like it may, or not, like it may be for Catherine. We talk about this all the time, even off air.
Yeah, because
I'm down for blue collar. You didn't have to, because college is not for everybody, and it's not. You can still make a very good living and all that kind of stuff without having, that's not a deal breaker for me. I think the point of this conversation is only if that's your deal breaker, that's yours, right? But I think it's really kind of a broad stroke to paint of men to say that there are men who don't prefer women who are educated. I think that kind of puts men down a little bit, because there are some men, just like there are some women who are like, no, I want her to have a degree. Like some men want a career woman. They don't want that. Where some men want that, I want you to just be at home. So I think it's just, again, it's that preference. But to just say men don't want women with education, Yeah, nah.
I want somebody who I can have a conversation with. I can sit down and talk to and have, you know,
Right.
and sit up here and be like, I don't care if you're fine, but if you're fine and you can't have a conversation, that's a problem. If, you know, because like the saying goes, after everything fades and things start sagging, you want to be able to have a conversation with somebody.
Right.
I mean, that's the reality. I mean, you know.
Good at conversation. Degrees don't. You've met people who are educated. Like, I don't find Bill Gates to be very interesting. I find Bill Gates to be very smart.
Right.
I don't find him to be very interesting. That's a big difference. And this man is brilliant, right? He's, you know, he would be considered Mark Zuckerman. I know he's on the spectrum somewhere, right? I don't find him to be engaging. Although
He doesn't even look it.
Right. He doesn't.
Well,
So again,
not to cut you off, but at the same time, they have a team too that they don't just do all of that themselves. They have a team also.
No, but my point is,
but they have to start us somewhere. They have to start us somewhere.
For you, I think whatever your deal breakers are, if you want, some people may say, I want him or her to have those degrees, and I want them to be able to talk. That's fine. That's your whatever your deal breaker is. That's on you. That's on you.
And education is my deal breaker. And let me tell you why with this, because I have always dated. I've been a relationship girl, right? Like I said, my first time being single since 97 was when I became 40, 2 years ago, right? When I turned 40. So I have always dealt with street guys, right? I have never dealt, and my last one was an entrepreneur who had no degree. They were non-degreed. I have 2 master's degrees. At this point in my life, this Catherine, right, would like to have a degreed man. So that's a deal breaker for me because I never done that before, right? So I would like to be intellectually stimulated. Not saying that a man without a degree can't intellectually stimulate me, but I would like to have a man that invested in himself educationally at an institution and preferably at HBCU so that we can have these courageous conversations about things. So not having a degree, deal breaker for me. Not believing in God, deal breaker for me, right? So having a horrible, like nasty insides of your car, deal breaker. So high up on the list.
So, you know what's a deal breaker for me, too, when we talk about attitude? Because you touched on this earlier, Catherine, when we talked about religion. So I think whatever speaks to your soul, speaks to your body, speaks to your mind is important. But when you think you need to evangelize everybody on that, that's a deal breaker for me. So if you're a vegan, don't try to evangelize me and everybody you know to be vegan. You're a Christian or you're a Muslim or you're a Buddhist or whatever. Don't try to evangelize. I am not interested in you feeling. A deal breaker for me is somebody who feels like everybody should be like them. So, like being an entrepreneur, for example, I'm gonna use this as entrepreneurs, and they're like, they don't understand how everybody is not an entrepreneur, and they kind of are snobbish about, you know, other kinds of things. And I'm like, well, if everybody was an entrepreneur, who would operate on your food behind, or who would educate you, or who would, you know what I mean? So I don't, a big turnoff for me is somebody who feels like snobbery is a turnoff, and somebody who feels like you have to evangelize and make everybody you. I don't eat meat, so you shouldn't eat meat. Or they always say, so you just gonna eat that steak? Yes, I'm gonna eat this whole prime rib right here. Okay, like this whole thing. Like I don't feel that.
And you might pick up and chew on the bone.
Right. Hey, good question. BG from KC, who's acting in KC right now. Thanks for joining, babe. Good question. What are needs versus wants? And I think that's a great question because your deal breakers should be centered around what are needs versus wants, because those things also change over time, right? What I needed and wanted, you know, 10, 20 years ago are very different than what I may need and want right now. So I think that's a very good question. Are your deal breakers rooted in your needs versus your wants, right? Your needs versus
and that's why it's important for people to do the work before you go on the dating scene. If you are newly divorced, you have no reason to be on the dating scene. You need to do the work. You need to go to your pastor. You need to go to your counselor. You need to go and sit alone for a few months and maybe a
Definitely need
year
counseling.
or so until you get all of those things together so you can emerge as a different woman. And I say this all the time, or a man, because I know
I'm about to say, yeah, man needed too.
yeah, men
Yeah,
need
for real.
a lot of men, y'all just slide in some other vagina.
Y'all are work.
And
Y'all are work. Y'all act like. Why do y'all always feel like we don't get hit up and be hurt?
Right, like we
y'all,
don't
I
be.
don't feel that way.
I
I
don't
don't
get
feel that
over
way.
it. A lot of
I
men
don't
just
feel
move
that
on.
way.
Y'all
I
just
don't feel that way.
pick up by your bootstraps. This is Catherine talk, and I know Freeman Jones does a lot of devil's advocate with me, but a lot of men are consistently changing over to a different woman without doing the work, when some women are more interested in becoming a better woman in order to have a more nurturing relationship. And I'm not saying that men don't do the work, but
I
it's
say
easier
some. I'm
for men.
sorry, Cat. Some boys, because they haven't grown
Yeah,
to be men
exactly.
yet.
Mhm.
They're
Yeah,
boys.
boys do that. Men will
Yeah,
take the
they could
time
be
out to
50
say,
years old and still be a boy.
if you get out of a relationship, marriage, what have you, like that, and don't sit up here and say, first of all, a lot of people when they're in relationships and they break up, they don't sit to tell them out to say, what the role did I play in why this relationship went bad? Nobody does that, male or female. So when they do finally say it and then they get into it, they're sitting up here, you coming in with damage, with baggage from the previous relationship. No, you got to process it and work it out and say, okay, I know what to do now. I know what not to do. So when I go into this new relationship, this is how I'm going to work it out. You know,
But I
and
also find this, that sometimes it's not that they're in another relationship. What I find is that people who just don't want to be alone, they may be doing the work, but they like dating. They like having that someone around. They just like making sure they have sex on standby. I'm not, whether that's healthy or not. I mean, let's be
well,
real clear. Let's
no,
be
That's
real
that's real
clear.
clear, but
fair.
it's easier for a woman than
And
it is
that's
for a
where we
man.
get messed up at.
What? Wait a minute. Say that again, Rudy. What?
I did not stutter. It's easier for a woman to have sex than it is for a man. A
Bull.
woman can decide whoever she want to do it with. A man got to do it whoever he wants. They're gonna give it to.
Right,
We can't get the hot pocket from
I agree
everybody.
with
right.
that.
I
I
have
agree with
Yeah,
somebody
that.
in the
we have
corner
to
of my
work
I
for
screen
it.
agree. No,
that
I agree with that.
she already said
That's the
she
difference,
needs
though.
6
Let's
figures.
not go
She
too
needs a
far.
master's degree
Okay
at
with that.
least. So rare. So nobody's gonna get that hot
I
pocket.
agree with that. I agree with that. I agree with that. That's a whole nother
Let's
show.
be
That's
let's
a
I
call
whole
it
like, I
what
nother
like
show.
that list, Rudy. Keep on going. What you say? 6 figures.
it is.
But
So let's be
again,
honest.
speaking of needs versus your wants, and I think to your point, Catherine, and going back to BG's question, and again, this is, I think deal breakers should be rooted in your needs versus your wants, and I also think that they should be flexible because as you change and grow, you should check your list.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
should you should go back and check your list.
Do you think the needs and the wants overlap eventually?
Sometimes modification.
I think
Huh?
it's a thin line, but I think you better be careful about a want becoming a need. I think it can bleed into each other, but I think that a need and a want should be separate, and you should be very distinct about it, because making a want a need can be detrimental or prevent you from connecting with the person that you need versus the person that you want, right? So you may want 6 feet, 6'5", but your need is coming in 5'10".
Right.
5'7".
That's what I'm saying. So again, you better
5'7".
be very okay, or 5'7". And so again, it's always about going back, because to me, him being 6'5", 6'1", or whatever is a want, but he may have your needs in his 5'9" package. Are
No,
you
I
going
got
to
you.
be open to that? And
Right.
that's the same with men. You may want her to be, the brick house, but what you need, is coming a little fluffier or a little skinnier or a
And
little
Like for
whatever.
example, like I know with me, it's like I have a certain type of preference. Not kind of a certain height, certain type of shape and everything, like size or whatever like that. But it's funny because I guess because of the women I grew up around, because I was the first in a string of boys, and I'm an only child. But I grew up with my grandmother, my aunts, my mother, and everything like that. And my father was around. I was with my father. But my thing is, it's like, and it's funny because I know even my wife looked at me. Once the first time I met her, we were sitting up talking. I was looking at her. I was like, I like you. Your whole face says "fuck you" and leave me alone. You turning me on right now. I said, that turns me on. I said, all that attitude, I said, gives me a chubby.
But you know what? Like, for me, a deal breaker is personality number one for me. You have to have a personality for me.
Yeah.
You have to have consistency. You have to have consistency. You have to understand I'm independent. So I have to be consistent on everything. I expect even my wife independent. So that's not what I was looking for. We build to that, but that's a turn off if you got somebody that laying around, keep making excuses, don't want to do nothing. That'd be a deal breaker. It becomes frustrating. And then when the finances that's what breaks everybody up anyway, finances.
Yeah. For me, you know what's the deal breaker for me? Meeting a man who has what I call a Flintstone mentality, right? Like they are very, kitchen in the bedroom, Florida, kitchen in the bedroom, like somebody who is just so stuck, like not having an open mind is a deal breaker for me. Like you're not open, you're not open to experiencing something else. And hearing a different lens, you're just like, no, it's my way or the highway. That's the deal breaker for me. And a man who has no stamps in his passport. First of all, a man with no passport.
That's a deal breaker?
Wow.
For me at this age,
I get it.
No,
I get it. I'm not mad at that.
I'm not.
It doesn't have to be filled up, but you got to be ready to go. He got to be ready to go.
That's what it is. Okay,
you got to be ready to go.
But why
it doesn't have to be.
You haven't been anywhere. It's kind of, remember, I'm 50.
Okay.
And if you're telling me you ain't never been anywhere and there's no extenuating
stuff. He been working.
Huh?
He been working. He want to travel the world with you now. That shouldn't be a deal breaker.
You know what?
He got to be ready.
He
said he got to have the passport to be ready.
He just wait 2 months so he could get it.
You know what? I would have to really work on being open to that, and I probably would. But if you haven't been anywhere, that would kind of make me go, okay. But a definite deal breaker is you ain't been nowhere and you don't want to go anywhere. That's definitely a deal breaker.
Okay, so
like you don't want to travel.
Let me say that. Okay, I'm well polished in many different areas, right? But I have only been to Cancun outside of the United States. I am not well traveled, and I talk about this on my first dates, if you ask, right? And I just recently got a passport, so I think
but you ready?
But you ready to go?
You ready to go? Right?
You are ready to go.
But I just got one because the guy that I was going on a trip with made it necessary, because he looked at me funny when he was like, "You don't have a passport?" You know what I mean?
Right. You look at you. But you don't have to be well traveled for me. I'm not saying because I've never been to Europe. I'm not saying you've been around the world in 80 days. It's a turnoff for me. You've never contemplated, tried to go anywhere, and you've never been anywhere.
But the backstory is, like I said, I've been a mother all my life. I don't really have time to go and travel because I was taking care of my children and blah blah blah. But and I just haven't went nowhere. I'm just a homebody. And I'm a germaphobe, like hotels. But anyway, so try not to on that, right? I had a personal testimony, so try not to X the guy out. Now, if he owed child support and he can't get a passport, that's why he ain't been nowhere. Now that's a deal breaker.
Let me ask y'all a question.
Ladies, answer this in the chat, because I know, Catherine, you and I are going to develop a show around this, but I would like to get some ideas, because if you are a deadbeat dad, that's a deal breaker for me. That is a deal breaker for me.
Let me ask you guys a question. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Q.
Are y'all open to dating somebody from a different state?
Yeah.
Because that's what I think sometimes.
If we can afford it, so I'm open to it. It depends on where you are. I'm in Maryland. If I'm in Maryland and you in Texas, if we can't afford to go back and forth, then no, I'm not interested.
That's a problem.
Right. I'm not talking about that far away, because sometimes I realize I'm just telling you what I've learned from experience. Sometimes when you're from the same place, you get content. sometimes when you date other people from other places, because I just know somebody recently, somebody was dating each other long distance and they came together and they doing happily ever ever. You know, that's why I'm asking that question.
Yeah,
Well,
Not against that.
I'm all for that. It has to be something you can afford to do.
right.
Yeah.
Would someone
Yeah.
get more attention if this was way more of your wants than one or two of your needs? Would someone get, that's a good question, BG. I think what he's asking is, and correct me if I'm wrong, BG, you should have requested to come on. Next time, BG, you're gonna have to be on. Would someone get my attention if they had more of my wants than my needs? I would say at 50, no. Had you asked me this at 20, 30, probably yes. Because whereas in my 20s and early 30s, wants were more important than my needs. And I think that was just with anything in my life, right? Like right now, my daughter doesn't appreciate vegetables as much as she appreciates, fast food, right? Like that's just, it's a maturity thing. So I would say at this point in my life, needs are way more important than wants.
Let me ask you a question, because the gentleman BG, he coming with some good stuff. I'm gonna still watch it.
I'm trying to scroll up because he always coming. He's actually my co-host tomorrow on Sultry Sunday. So read what he's saying.
You want to add him in, and I could just step out because I'm loving what y'all talking about.
Okay,
you want me to step out? Let's step out.
BG, we're gonna add you in. Don't get scared. Don't get scared. Thank you.
All right, of course.
Back to you.
All right.
All right,
y'all.
brother,
Nice talking with you, bro. I'm on.
Okay, take care.
All
Need me to step out of your good.
Catherine's gonna bring you in. 3% of people who travel further miles were with
And
from.
here's my thing about the flight situation.
Can you add BG in, Catherine?
Yeah, he have to request me. That's all.
Y'all need me to step out, or I'm good?
No, you're good.
You're good.
So here's my thing, y'all.
BG, request her to join, please.
Oh,
because
he can't join. He says he can't join. He's at dinner. Oh, hold on.
Yo, what's going on, y'all?
How you doing, bro?
I'm good, bro. What up, Rudy?
How you doing?
I'm good. I really want to get in this dialogue with you. I really do. Problem is, I got to go. Two of my high school classmates are downstairs in the lobby, and we're about to go watch this game and grab some dinner.
Okay.
I love the conversation, Catherine. AK. I can top it up with this anytime on this. One of the things, like you said, it's the difference of maturing of a man and maturing of a woman. As we, walk through life, you realize, those wants are not nearly as important as, what it is that you really need out of a person and really, have to have. Because, when I was in my 20s and probably my early 30s, I always had this 5 things that I had to have from a woman. But as the older I got, it was like, no, I'm not looking for, what I wanted. I started to learn what I really don't want. Mm-hmm. And I really started to learn, like, wow, I can't deal with that. I can't, like Catherine said, if you got a dirty car, that bothers you, right? There are things that, you learn and, through relationships and life, and you're like, wow, I can't deal with that. I can make some, I can try to make some changes. And, at this point in our lives, people ain't doing a whole lot of changing.
Right.
That's true.
So
that's true.
You got to see that person for who they are, and
flexibility or the lack thereof could be a deal breaker. So I want to shout out my cousin. I'm not going to call her name. I'm going to shout out my cousin, but she just gave you a compliment, BB, that you were handsome. So I just wanted to share that with you.
I appreciate that. I'm trying to keep it in line, as I approach that 5-0. I'm trying. Hey, but I got to jump off here. I'm gonna listen to y'all for a few more minutes, but I got
BG,
two of my people.
get you on here for a show. where you can stay. And I'll see you tomorrow for our jazz show tomorrow. He's my co-host for those of you listening. He is my co-host for Sultry Sundays, and he's just a real cool guy. So thanks, hon. Enjoy dinner. Thanks for jumping on.
Absolutely, y'all. Much love, much love. I love what y'all doing. Y'all keep it real. Rudy, hey, keep him in line, Rudy. Keep him in line.
All right, BG, I got you. Hold it down, brother. Hold it down.
I don't need to tell you on the don't.
Okay.
I think we got it. I think we got it. We got it.
So peep this out. So because we got a little off track. So when we were talking about dating deal breakers, right? I want us to really understand that when we're talking about this, we're talking about things that we come across in individuals as we're on the dating scene, right? Because when you're dating, you need to ask questions. And I'm a big communication person, right? If I notice that you cannot communicate properly, you don't text me every single day. Because let me tell you something, it's a hunt, it's a blood sport. Like my good brother Ralph told me. Dating is a blood sport. If you want this, then you need to compete with everybody else that want this. All right. So you have to be able to be a good communicator, and you have to be able to show me that you're after me. Right. So if you're not consistent on that front, I will delete, block, and don't know who you are.
Are you putting that same energy back to that person?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Everything that I want, I'm reciprocating. All right.
Okay.
So if you're not texting me every single day and you're saying that you are into me, it doesn't mathematically, I'm a numbers girl, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't add up.
Yeah, 2 + 2 is not equaling 4.
Yeah. So ladies, if he go 2 days without talking to you, you ain't it.
Right.
You know
and I don't know if Crystal is still on here.
You're not.
This is something that Crystal and I talk about yes, she is. Indeed, and agreed. I knew Crystal was going to try, because we talk about this all the time. I'm the same way. You got to let me know that you're interested. Now, that doesn't mean we have to have a 5-hour conversation every day. No. But it's the little things. The lack of follow-up is a deal breaker for me.
That's right.
Like the lack of follow-up is a deal.
Now, do you do it both ways? Does it go both ways, or y'all just looking for a man to do it?
If I'm interested in you, I'm going to let you know that I'm interested in you.
Okay.
But
I need to do the same thing. It's putting in the work. It's putting in the work. The lack of follow-up is ridiculous.
Absolutely. And
well, we always have to put in the work. We always put in more work.
But you don't. No, you don't. Let me just say this to you.
We do.
Because you've been out the game for a minute. So several of my girlfriends go through this. They have a good date. They swipe right. The conversation is good. There's a connection. They decide to go out on a date, and Crystal can chime in and say this. The connection is good. We go on a date. The date was great. Nice, good conversation. And then cricket. The ninja don't call. He don't text. Or it's like 2 or 3 days later. Or, my girlfriends will say, hey, then they'll check out how's it going. Like, the lack of follow-up is a deal breaker. Follow up and close the deal.
But then hold on. What you telling me is that he didn't find her that interesting, maybe. Yeah. And I'm not saying that's the case.
He did. Like, we have 2 or 3 good dates, and then I don't hear from you no more. You don't follow up. I'm not talking about the date sucked. I don't expect you to call back the date sucked.
To be honest with you, and I've been out the game for a while.
You have.
But I think after some guys in their head, and I could be wrong. But I know after a certain amount of dates, they're like, if the hot pocket isn't, if there's no distinct, time frame of when the hot pocket's gonna come about, they okay. Well, I don't think they were connecting like that.
We're too old for this right now.
Now I'm saying back then. Now we're too old for that.
We get the hot pocket follow up.
But you gotta understand. Now it's a different story. Now, like Sinbad say, now you want to be with somebody who can know the signs of when you're about to have a stroke.
Listen,
you know what I'm saying?
Listen, stop it. Y'all running around in circles. Stop it. Ladies, listen. Y'all not on the dating scene. Let me tell you something. Let me go to church for a second, because I think we get confused. We get confused. Everything is clear cut and dry. There's no gray area in dating, okay? If he ain't calling you every single day, he ain't into you, all right? stop thinking that, oh, his mama got sick and his attention went that way. If a man wants you, he will show you. He gonna send flowers. He gonna appear. He gonna be there. He gonna try and outdo anybody else that's in the running. And if he is not in the running for the long haul and he's not showing you them things, get out the line, because he's holding up the line.
Here's my only pushback with that. I find that there are some dudes who are interested, but they lack the skill set of follow-up. Follow-up is a skill set. And that's my point. That's a deal breaker. That's a deal breaker. That is an
I think guys will follow up if he's that interested.
Yes.
Yeah, he'll follow up if he's that interested, and then he'll follow up. That's my honest belief.
Listen, you go on these dates.
Decided within 5 minutes of me.
Yeah, you know
if he's going to get the hot pocket or not. Absolutely. We already know if you get the hot pocket or not.
Yeah, we know, Rudy, we know if we're going to give a man a cooch. I know if I'm pocket. I know if I'm going to let him have access to my house when my kids ain't there, of course. I know exactly what I'm going to do with him within 5 minutes of meeting him. And
that's
at
correct.
The conversation, right, at that table, at the dinner table, I'm asking all of these questions off the gate. Because first of all, I need to know everything about you before you access my body. And you're going to, and you need to show me proof too. I need receipts. And that's another thing. See, women don't fall for the okie doke, because it's a lot of men out here that's fronting and pretending, and they're going to do and say whatever they need to say in order to get access to you, right? Because you have to have receipts. Don't be afraid to ask for receipts, because a man that loves his money and loves his family or loves himself, he's going to give you access to those things because he wants you. And a man is not going to be afraid or against showing you certain things if he knows that's going to put him up on the pedestal with you or outrank another man.
When a man knows that she's the one, that when a man knows that that's the person, like with me and my wife, I found out early on, I was like, hold on, she's different now. It was like, when we first started, it was like, she's different. And I was like, and so when I started doing things and I started paying attention, a little bit more close attention, it was like, okay, she started checking off the boxes. The box was being checked off. So it was like, it was an easy decision for me saying, and like you said, showing the receipts and stepping up the game. It's like, okay, yeah, she makes me like the saying goes, she makes me want to be a better man and all that stuff. That was like, okay, yeah, I can see the long haul with her. I can see this with her. I can see that with her. And a guy will do it because guys know.
Yeah,
guys know. We know.
The work that you put in your follow. First of all, every love connection is not love at first sight. Sometimes you know this someone, sometimes you don't. At the end of the day, for me, and I know like with Catherine and Crystal and the women that are in my village, it's about the follow-up and the work you put in. And she just put it so it's either going to put you in the front of the line or out the class, right? Either in the front of the line or you out the class. It's the little things. I'm not saying I know you my future or you may know, but my thing is we had a good date or two and then you just don't follow up. That says to me that you're lazy, because some of it is he's not really into you, and some of it is he's just effing lazy. Don't be a lazy dater. And listen, don't be a lazy dater. Don't be a lazy dater. Don't be a lazy dater.
Because it's a blood sport. Listen, fellas is doing shit, right? Niggas is cash apping. Niggas is laying up there and they are sending you Uber Eats while you at work. Men are sending flowers. Men are securing the spot in the bag.
The bag, yeah. They secure the bag. A friend of mine said it's always about securing the bag.
So you telling me, texting me what you doing, that ain't helping nobody's situation at all. Not mine and not yours. So you got to be forth in action, all right? If you want to be with me, then you know what I like, because I have already explained this to you. I have told you what my love languages are. I have told you what I like. And you are not stupid, because you have dated women before. And the type of caliber of woman I am, you know you're going to have to put your best foot forward.
We're having this conversation, and we're all in our 40s and up. In our 20s and 30s, it wasn't like this. Right now, I'm giving you the answers to the test. I'm giving you the answers to the test. I'm giving you the answer to the test.
Crystal,
if you're not using the answer key, I'm giving you the answer key. Here's the answer key. If you're still not using the answer key, well, then that's a deal breaker. Like because you just don't get it. You don't have the wherewithal. Either it's an intelligence thing, it's a skill set thing, or it's a laziness thing. Because I'm good with you're just not into me. Because I don't expect you to follow up if you're not that into me. But if you keep telling me you're into me, but then you don't put in the work, that tells me you don't have the intelligence.
So Crystal said,
Yeah.
said Cash App and Cat. Yes, they are. Let me tell you, I've had strangers that I've never even met before on Instagram that fall into my DM frequently. All right. And it's about 10 to 15 that fall into the DM on a regular basis. And I'm not lying. And women that is a woman that's more attractive or have a better body, I can imagine than me. I can imagine what they're getting in their DMs. So for me, yes, there are guys who are out there that's willing to open up the pockets because that's nothing to them. It ain't tricking if you got it. Right? What's something like I never forget this one guy. He fell into the DM on, let's say, a Tuesday, and I knew him from back when, right? Let's say I knew him like negative 24 years ago, right? Probably more than that, right? And you know, we talked back and forth just to see how he was doing because I haven't seen him or, you know, been in New Orleans for a very long time. Anyways, every other Friday he used to Cash App me. Here, did you get your nails done? I was like, no, but you don't have to. Here it is. And that's nothing. Never asked for my phone number. Never asked for anything like a flight or nothing. I may have gotten at least $500 from this man and never asked me for anything. It was just an angel from God.
Clearly.
But I'm saying, can you imagine what other women are getting? I'm just saying, they do that. That's what he wanted.
Don't think those who follow DMs will be sending you $500. That's a disclaimer, and this is not, you know, something that's going to happen all the time. The point is,
men got money. They doing it. You ain't dating.
The point is, if he wants to put in the work, he's going to put in the work, and if he doesn't, that's a deal breaker. That's a deal breaker.
I'm telling you, ladies, don't be fooled. These men out here, they paying for what they want, and they will solidify the position that they would like to have at all costs. So don't if he don't call you, he ain't into you. Next, don't let him hold up the line, boo. The line must be long and it must be flowing like Chick-fil-A. Nuh-uh. Dating, you gotta be on point. It's a blood sport. My good boy Ralph, he said he messing up the game. But I'm not saying that a man should leave with his pockets. What I'm saying is that you need to show that you're into that woman, and you need to be consistent. Consistent.
That's true. That's true. If a man don't show consistency, then like, what are you in it for?
Consistency is a deal. Inconsistency is certainly a deal breaker. Like you start strong, and then all of a sudden, now you don't answer calls. You're like, what the hell? Like you have to put in the work. You have to put in the work.
And Freeman Jones, a lot of men, excuse me, AK Free, a lot of men are mad. We want to do a Venn diagram. Majority of the men that's sliding in the DM that's trying to date you are married already. Let's talk about that. That's a deal breaker. You can't be married or living with someone and you're trying to date somebody. Let's talk about that. Right. A lot of people don't talk about y'all quiet.
Like Chick-fil-A, I'm laughing at one of the comments. Yes, it should be a Chick-fil-A. Now, I haven't been single since Cash App and DMs, right? I've been, you know, it's a little, you're giving us a little different knowledge. You know, those of you who are single during the Cash App DM generation, I get it. I think at the end of the day, what we're saying is lack of follow-up is certainly a deal breaker. So here's some other deal breakers as we start wrapping up. Did we cover all deal breakers? What are some other deal breakers? Humor is a deal breaker for me.
It's a deal breaker if he married?
Yeah, hell yeah. It's a deal breaker. It's a deal breaker. Well, for me and for you it is. For others it may not be. I've heard some women say, you know what, I just want to date. I want her to have all the problems. I just want to have the extras. So for some, that may not be a deal breaker. For me, well, yeah, no. Yeah, we're not. I'm not gonna be.
Yeah, that's some people. Some people are like that. There's some
Absolutely.
people out there that says I want to date, somebody who's married. I ain't got, like you said, I don't have to deal with the crap. I get the good version of that person. I don't get the dirty drawers, the bad breath, the this, the that, the that. Yeah.
But it's just so confusing that a lot of men that are occupied with a wife, they have a lot of time and energy to be dating or trying to date
Those are always the ones that can follow up.
It's too much work. It's too much work. I got one home drive me crazy. Why would I be with somebody else drive me crazy? What type of stupid am I?
True, I agree. But when you start talking about that, it's a lot of men that's trying to date while they're married.
True.
And that's a deal breaker. And you need and that's another thing, ladies. Be sure
I have a bunch of guys I know that's like that.
If he's single. Because a lot of times these men out here, half of them not single. Because you're living with somebody, you're not single. I'm not talking about a roommate neither. If you live with your girlfriend that is your ex-girlfriend, you're not single. So you got to ask them first, are you single? Like, that's the first question.
So, okay, I know this is probably shallow because we went a little deep, so I'm going to bring it back to the shallow end for a little bit because I thought of this. I forgot to say this earlier. So a deal breaker for me, this is straight physiological. If you chew and smack your smack when you eat.
If you chew and what?
If you chew with your mouth open.
That's not good. That's not.
Eat, yeah. I can't do it. I cannot.
Can I be honest with you? That's why I don't.
You slurp.
That's why I don't eat mayonnaise.
What you mean?
When I was younger, I was with my aunt and my cousins. And after Thanksgiving, you always go to somebody's house. You'll make your little ham sandwiches, your chicken sandwiches. So we up there making sandwiches. So my aunt and my cousin, they sit up there. Not only the smack, but the mayonnaise is all on the side of the. I was like, I've not eaten mayonnaise since. And if I do it, it needs to be a very small, thin film. I don't eat potato salad because of the mayonnaise. I can't do it. I can't do it. Not going to be able to do it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Not going to be able to do it. I'm sorry.
I know that's on the shallow end of the pool after we just went real deep and all that. But I meant to mention that earlier, Kat. When we were talking about like on a first date, if we go to dinner, and I'm kind of strategic, like I want to go for drinks or dinner on our first date because it's very telltale for me. That whole smacking and all of that, chewing with your mouth on the first date, I can't. That just lets me know we're not getting on the second date. That is a deal.
No,
or
I can't
even
do that.
The way I have gone on a second date. If you hold your fork, because I was raised a certain way to hold it,
We talked about that. Manners.
That's real. But that's real.
But not everybody's been raised that way. So I don't, some people, that's not a deal breaker. That's kind of a deal breaker for me.
Yeah, of course.
Like stabbing your food. Hey, Professor Jay, what's going on? If you look like you're stabbing your food like a gladiator, yeah, I can't. That's just, I'm not doing it.
Yeah. So dating, I think a lot of people don't like the whole idea of dating, and a lot of women stay in these toxic and unfulfilling relationships because they fear dating, right? They fear the whole process, and they don't embrace the process. Men too, it's the same way. I have a partner, I think he's still on a call, and we always talk about, dating, and he hates it because he feels like the man have to pay for the date, and then the women, and normally the women are fronting on, this is coming from him, they're catfishing, they're fronting, they are just trying to get a dinner or a meal out of you. So the whole process may be an unforgiving process when you start talking about dating. But when you're dating a guy, you're paying for the date, and then a deal breaker come up for the man or the woman while you're on the date, the man still has to pay or should be paying for this date. That's just for me. I have never been on a date where I had to pay, but I hear some women out there paying for their own dates, and you shouldn't be doing that, ladies. That's just totally off.
I believe that if I ask you on a date, I should pay for it. I don't have a problem.
You're a woman. No.
No, I don't. I totally disagree.
So what you gonna propose to? Girl, no.
I don't have a problem with paying. I think the initial date should be on him, but I don't have a problem with paying for a date. I absolutely do not. I absolutely do.
I'm old school. I'll pay. I have no problems with that. But my wife has taken me out to dinner and she's
That's
paid
different.
for it.
That's different. Y'all married. No,
Okay, but put it like this. But before we got married, let me tell you about the first time she took me out to dinner. She took me out to a restaurant that we love, and she's like, "Okay, fine." We get there, and I had to wind up paying for it because when we got there, they weren't taking cards. They weren't taking debit cards and things of that nature. So I had to wind up paying because I had cash on me. But it's like, to me, otherwise than that, it's no big thing to me. I mean, it's like I said, I'd rather pay. It doesn't bother, but that's just me. That's just me.
If you're in a relationship and the woman, like y'all have been
I'm about
exclusive and then she pays for a date, nothing's wrong with that. What I'm saying is the whole idea of dating is for the man to chase, right? And for the man to show that he's interested in you, right? So he's going to pay for these dates. I'm not saying that if y'all get to date number 4 or 5 and you're like, hey, I'm gonna pay for this one, right? This one's on me since you paid for all the other ones. That's totally fine. But initially, he needs to be paying, whether or not I planned it or he planned it.
I don't 100% agree with that. Like, it's my preference that if you ask me on a date, you pay for the date. But I don't have a problem with paying for a date when we're just dating. I have no problem with that. Crystal brings up a good point about planning a date. Like, a turn off for me is you want to go out with me, but you absolutely have no ideas. Like, I don't mind you asking for my input, right? But a man who has like no imagination, he has no, this is my favorite restaurant, this is my favorite lounge, or like, that tells me you're not creative, or you don't,
you can't think outside the box.
For me, it tells me lack of creativity. Like, you don't have some restaurants that you like, or things, even if you're like, yo, I'm planning a hang gliding date or whatever. Like, I definitely like to know that you have some, because I want to be exposed to some things maybe that I've never been exposed to before. You know what I mean? So yeah.
I mean, I went out on dates where we had fun. It wasn't like we had to, do a lot of stuff. We just did stuff that was kind of like, we're not saying not spending money, but just saying, that you had to be creative. I got creative and I said, okay, well, let's do this. This is going to be fun. Let's do that. And hold on. Then I had dates that was kind of like, okay, let's do this and let's do that. And they were like, oh, well, okay, let's do that. That sounds like fun. So it's that was kind of a little bit much, whatever like that. So I think everybody's different, so.
Let me ask this. Let me ask you, Catherine and Rudy, let me ask you this. So kissing is huge for me. Kissing can be a deal breaker for me. So I like to kiss on the first date because if we're not kissing compatible, that's a deal breaker for me. If we're not kissing compatible.
Okay.
Like, everything else has been great. Your grooming was on point. Your shoes were on point. You paid for the first date. It was a nice, fun date. Whatever, you planned it. All of that. Like, all the things that we talked about. And then we get to you welcome me to my door. And you get to, and I feel like I'm kissing a whale, or you're trying to swallow my whole face, or whatever. Like, if we're not kissing compatible, all of that other stuff goes out of the window. That is a deal. If we're not kissing compatible, because some people may like the sloppy, me not so much. Or I don't like super thin lips. I don't like feeling like, I'm kissing like briskets or something. Like, it's just lips.
That's a deal breaker for you. And here, let me switch it back to 𝗗𝗏 versus 𝗗𝗏 because she does this to me, Rudy, all the time. Okay, she is being shallow right now because let me tell you something. At the end of the day, if she was on a date, listen, stop it, because now you're going into your imagination and you're creating this reality and falsehood. Hold up. If you have a chemistry with that man, it's an automatic chemistry, and you like what you see, you like what you hear, you like what he's dishing out, and then all of a sudden he has a thin top lip, it's a deal breaker.
He sucks at kissing, and he sucks at, because kissing is very intimate.
Gosh, that's not.
No, this is not teaching you how to kiss. Either you're kissing compatible or you're not. I don't think that's something you can teach. I don't think that that's something you can teach.
I think it's being shallow at that. And
like
at 50, God forbid, at 50, if you ever get on a dating scene, I don't think that's going to be a deal breaker when you're trying to look for security.
Because it is, because kissing is just that important to me. I'm very, that is so intimate and important to me that if we're not kissing compatible,
I'm not interested in that. I'm more interested in your 403B, 401k, deferred compensation, what type of security, financial literacy. I'm looking for those things, and I'm asking you on the first date, what's your FICO? What's the highest of your 3? I would like to know. And if a man has a problem answering those questions, then that means that he does not have a good relationship with money, because a man or a woman that do have a good relationship with money, they are
on top of it.
About talking.
They're on top of it.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's just like somebody that's into credit repair and all that stuff like that. If they're into that, that's their thing. They're going to consistently talk about it because they're an expert in that, right? So if you're good at it, if you're good at managing money and finances, we right up the same alley. So I would rather talk about those things and talk about the intimacy and all those other things too. But we have to really understand, like, what are we putting up here versus what are we putting down here? So a person who really don't kiss that well, that I can maybe teach him, it's not. I don't really know if there's like a person that really can't kiss. Like,
there are. So let me say, I say compatibility, because what I find is not good kissing may not be that way for you. I'm saying for me, if that compatibility of kissing is not there, you can be a financial literacy genius.
Okay.
Because
but that's your preference. That's
okay.
Everybody got a preference.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my whole idea, our whole idea for this show was to basically like talk about some things that's deal breakers. Because a lot of times, fellas, and I'm talking from a lady going on a date, a lot of y'all fail in the test when it comes to dating and consistency, follow through. You're failing the test, Black men, when it comes to communication. You're failing the test, Black men, when it comes to showing interest, right? So I think a lot of times some men really don't know how to show that interest. Some of them are not rooted in opening up their wallets to try to capture someone. So it becomes a problem, right? So I think a lot of times, ladies, we try and work with guys, and we try to be a nurturer or a fixer, and that turns into trouble because you can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig, right? So you got to be very, very careful what you're willing to fix in a man or help him modify versus something that you can't really tolerate. So that's why it's important on a date with me and experience. I like to ask a man, what is your poison? And when I say, what is your poison, I'm asking you, what's a habit that you have that subtracts from your income, that is something that you would like to quit, or something that is a problem, it's a negative for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of guys, when they say, so they going through this whole process. Should I tell her that women is my poison? Like, I'm always have a wandering eye. I might always hook up with the next female. I love you, but I might go back to another one. Should I tell her that I'm a gambler? Should I tell her that I play poker? I don't know what it is, right? So you got to make sure that you ask somebody what's their poison. Because if you don't know what their poison is up front, you don't know if you'll be able to tolerate that poison later on down the line, right? So knowing things up front, and that's why you got to ask all of these questions. And it's
kind of begs the question that somebody's going to be that vulnerable and that honest in the first
early on. That's rare.
It's not something somebody's going to give you on the
You don't think so?
date.
It's not rare. Y'all have not dated. People open. You don't have to be like, interrogation, here's question number 1, right? No, you can find creative ways, ladies, to get these answers out of these men. Like I said, I have been on a date one time. I asked the guy what's his poison, and he said these bitches, cat. I'm just telling you, man.
He said what?
These bitches, man. He said bitches. And he was honest with me. He was like, you know, I have a problem with monogamy sometimes, you know. He said, I have good intentions. And he was honest with me. And this was the first date.
But you got to respect that. You got to respect that.
Right now. But, you know, that's a demon that, or excuse me, a poison that I can't tolerate because I don't want to deal with that down the line because I know he's struggling with that, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You have to ask these questions, ladies, because if you do not know, then you don't know what you have on your hands, right? So be very honest. And
Still not know. I agree with you. I definitely think you should ask questions that are really the most important to you. And you know, and there's still an element of trust that you're getting the full disclosure, right? Some things are going to come out. Like for me, I don't, you know, because I can certainly be Barbara Walters, but I also feel like there's some things I just want to see, right? Because what you say needs to align, you know, with what
I honestly believe, I know with me, as I got older, I'm not big on words. I'm more big on action right now. So so it's like there's times somebody will tell me something, I'll just say, I'll scream out Missouri. I'm the show me state. You got to show me. I can't go by what you're saying. As I'm getting older, that's the way so you can tell me whatever you want to tell me. It means nothing to me if you're not showing it in your actions.
And you don't even have to show it sometimes. You can just look at that person. For instance, I'm going to show you right quick. For instance, Rudy, tell your wife, don't try and hunt me down. Me and you are on a date, right? And you tell me, I'm asking you,
do you have any dating deal?
How much money do you make, right?
Yeah.
And because you say, let's just say you say, oh, I'm an engineer, and we're just in conversation at the table. I'm asking how much money you make, by the way, right?
I know you are.
Go into it. I'm not gonna go into it abrasive, but I want to know, right? So, because if you ask me, I'm gonna tell you too, right? So,
I'll tell you later, Kat.
So then you FaceTime me, right? And then that's another deal breaker. But then you FaceTime me, and I agreed for you to FaceTime me. And then you live like in a scatter site, like something like a project type situation. But you told me you make $100,000. It don't add up, right? So those are the things.
Your 2 plus 2 don't equal 4.
You need to do a show.
Hey, Lisa.
Hey, Lisa. You don't even need to do a show.
Dating deal breakers with me.
So, ladies, be sure to check. Like, if he said he like Christian Louis Vuittons or whatever, get a shoe. Like, okay, you do. But if he got Air Ones on and he collect Jordans, he lying. So,
what's your dating deal breaker? What's your dating deal breaker?
Breakers? What are some of your deal breakers?
Deal breaker. Come on.
Bad hygiene, like bad things like that. But one of my breakers is like ignorance. But like I don't feel like being ignorant is a bad thing. But when you're ignorant and closed-minded, I feel like that's where the problem comes in because I can't try and like teach you, convince you otherwise of what you think if you're closed-minded. If you're open-minded, that's fine though. But I don't like ignorant people who are not.
Okay. That's valid. That's valid. Hold on, my 21-year-old daughter's here. Hold on a minute. Kayla.
Hey, Kayla. Hi, everyone.
Congratulations, graduate.
Thank you.
BFA.
So I definitely
two parents who were graduates. This year, Miss Kat, her daughter, graduated too.
Congratulations, Kat.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, what's your deal breaker? As a 21, this is from a 21-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
I personally would say, just for me, somebody who is judgmental, because I feel like I just really like somebody who's kind and everything of that nature, because I feel like being kind goes a long way in having a good heart. Because there's no reason to be mean. Like, there's no reason to, like, you can have a hard shell and you could be that hard person, but there's no reason to be malicious or anything of that nature. So when somebody just judges somebody off a rip for materialistic things or just of their appearance, I don't like that. And that in friendships and relationships, I don't like that. And that's just a complete deal breaker for me in general. I just can't mess with somebody like that. Because that's just
Absolutely.
not who I am.
That's a good
Okay.
one.
We heard from a 16-year-old. We heard from a 21-year-old.
Oh,
What
and
you do?
while Rudy, while your daughter's on,
Uh-huh.
I want to ask her a question because the generational gap is different between me and her, right? Because I'm 42
Okay.
and she's 21. Of course, it's a lot of, a lot of years. So what I'm saying is, the FaceTime thing. Do not FaceTime me. This is my thing. What's your name? I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
Kayla.
My name is Kayla, but I agree. Don't call me unannounced. Like, I just don't randomly call me. I don't like that because I'm not gonna pick up, and now you interrupted me from what I'm doing.
Yes.
Like, you mean call you just on regular phone or FaceTime?
No, FaceTime.
FaceTime. I don't like that.
And 60-year-old just said in general, like if you're gonna FaceTime me.
No, but yeah. If I feel like if you're gonna FaceTime me, if you're gonna call me, like at least text me, like letting me know. I just don't like like you don't know what I'm doing. I just don't like it. That's just me.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so I thought it was just me.
Lisa just said the same thing. She was like,
You
if we
just said
don't
the same thing?
like if you already my boo, you can FaceTime me. But if we just date, you can't just randomly FaceTime me.
Yeah, I don't think so. No, this is my phone.
Lisa's not gonna answer you. She's not gonna answer your FaceTime if you not like if that's not. She's like, if you're not my boo, I'm not FaceTiming you like that.
and you're not supposed to Instagram video me neither. No.
Yeah, I don't think so.
On Facebook Messenger video me. I'm like,
No, that's not it.
there was face. I was like, absolutely not, sir. Who are you? No.
No,
Let's
I
talk
don't think so.
first. Let's talk on the phone first. Absolutely.
Well, I'm gonna wrap up, you guys. We should wrap up for this session.
All right. It was great meeting you all.
Nice meeting you, Taylor.
Bye.
I feel like I've known you your whole life. Well, pretty much. I have.
Exactly.
She's so cute.
Oh.
Because I may not.
Oh.
When you call me, so unless you my boo thing, if I don't know you, no, you can't just be video calling.
I don't care what I look like.
Right.
Yeah, FaceTiming is a no. Like that's a deal breaker. But yeah,
Okay.
great talk. Make sure, and fellas too, make sure that when we have our next session, we're gonna start talking about child support in the arrears versus no arrears.
What's the next session going to be?
On child support, should I be dating you and you're paying child support? And that's another thing, like with deal breakers, like young kids, I'm not into that neither. But the next show, we're gonna talk about that. Should he be on the dating scene and he owing child support?
Huh?
Well, I like that topic, and I'm going to chime in because I should have got child support because I had my oldest son went since he was 3 years old, and I didn't get nothing. I didn't get a red damn cent.
One last deal breaker. What? One last thing.
Me personally, since I'm young, I like to do like a lot of long nails and hair colors and stuff. I don't like when boys try to comment on like what they like and do not like because I'm not doing it for you. Like, I just had somebody tell me at work like, oh, you can function with them long nails. I don't like when girls get long nails. Well, I'm not getting long nails for you. I'm not getting long hair for you. I'm not getting long eyelashes for you. I'm doing it for myself.
I agree.
So I don't think it matters.
Okay.
There you go. I love it.
Yeah.
There's that.
I love it.
What can I say?
I love it. Somebody get out your face, them young dudes, them young Thundercats. Shoot them in the pee-pee. Get that hell out of here.
Look, Chris is saying he ain't got no dating money. He paying child. That's going to be our next topic. We are definitely going to talk about, because of course we are of the age, and again, BG, Rudy, guys, fellas, if you can chime in, because I do think that that's an important issue, even if the ladies are paying child support. You know, I think
Can't pay a damn thing.
I think that it's important to talk about that because, you know, we're of the age where we're meeting people. You know, when I met my husband, he had kids already, right? So that was something I had no kids. So, you know, what does that look like when we're talking about, you know, we brand new, right? The kids are not ours together.
I'm talking about that guy. I'm talking about the guy that's behind.
Oh.
I'm not talking about a guy that's just on child support. There's nothing wrong with all women. I'm not talking about that. We're talking about the guy that's behind on child support, the guy that's not paying the child support, the guy that can't get that passport that you was looking for in the man.
But what about the guy who's paying child support but you're not engaged with your kids?
I mean,
That's worse. That's
Well,
worse.
that's part of the
Well, let's
conversation
talk
too.
about kids in general. We don't have to just
Got
get on child support, but
Mhm.
are you taking care of your children? If you're not taking care of your children, is he dateable? Like, should he be on the market, or woman, vice versa?
Yeah,
Um,
thank you.
so
Thank you.
yeah, so we want to talk about that because a lot of
Hey,
times,
Tuffy, what's up, brother? I'm sorry.
no,
Is that
Good friend of mine.
people,
neighborhood?
That's Tuffy, yeah. That's Tuffy, yeah.
You probably won't remember me. Oh my God, it's been years. But hey, Tuffy, thanks for popping in.
Mhm.
Thanks for inviting him, Brew. I appreciate it.
I invited a whole lot of people. They just didn't, some of them pop up. Some of them, I sent out stuff a while ago. So,
All right, boy, no, thank y'all. This
Mhm.
is great, Sis Talk. This is a good one.
yeah,
This
Yeah.
was a good one.
hours. They about to kill.
Really? All right. I love y'all. This has been great. Thank everybody who's tuned
Okay.
in. Friends, family, y'all hopping in. Thank y'all so much for coming in and joining us and commenting and giving us some insight. So we'll see you in 2 weeks for the next Sis Talk here on IG Live. Love you, Kat. Love you, Rue.
Love you, babe. Talk to you later.
Bye, y'all.
Okay.
Love y'all.
Okay. Take care.